We are now in part 3 of this series of the sanctuary. Last week we looked at the laver of water, and now we will be looking at the table of showbread. We read about the table of showbread in the book of Exodus chapter 25 verses 23 through 30. Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, and make thereto a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt make unto it a border of an handbreadth round about. And thou shalt make a golden crown to the border thereof round about. And thou shalt make for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in the 4 corners that are on the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border shall the rings be for places of the staves to bear the table. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be borne with them. And thou shalt make the dishes thereof, and spoons thereof, and covers thereof, and bowls thereof, to cover withal. Of pure gold shalt thou make them. And thou shalt set up on the table showbread before me alway. Atop the table of showbread on pure gold plates, Aaron and his sons placed 12 loaves of bread made from fine flour, also called bread of the presence. The loaves were arranged in 2 rows or piles of 6, with frankincense sprinkled on each row. The loaves of bread were considered holy, an offering before the presence of God, and could be eaten only by the priests. Each week on the Sabbath, the priest consumed the old bread and replaced it with fresh loaves and frankincense supplied by the people. The table of showbread was a constant reminder of God's everlasting covenant with his people and his provision for the 12 tribes of Israel, represented by the 12 loaves. Okay, so what does this table of showbread represent though? The book of Matthew chapter 4 verse 4 says, "But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." We see Jesus here being tempted by Satan in the wilderness. He tells Jesus, if he be the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. And this was the response Jesus gave. This bread represents the Word of God. But listen, this bread, like the altar of sacrifice, like the laver of water, points also to Jesus. The book of John chapter 6 verse 35 says, "And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst." Jesus is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the living water, and now we see Jesus as the bread of life. John chapter 1 verses 1 through 3 says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made." Jesus is that bread, and he is the Word of God, which represents that table of showbread. Every piece of furniture points to Christ, brothers and sisters. Next time, we will look at the 7-branched candlestick. This is John Tinsley with Everlasting Rock Ministries, and always remember that truth never fails. God bless you.